Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Lincoln Kenobi here, and I'm doing a live reaction pot with PBD podcast with Gina Carano. Now, if those of you that don't know Gina Carano, she was an actress that played Cara Dune in the Mandalorian series. Now, before in 2020. Everything was going to KY with COVID and all that nonsense and how our country was being treated. Gina Carano made an expressive opinion in Twitter of how our country was being treated. You know, just her own opinion. And Lucasfilm was being forced by the cancel culture and the SJWs, which are the social justice weirdos, who I call social justice bastards, you know, because that's what they are. You know, so Lucasfilm forced Gina Carano to take these sessions with these LGBTQ people and these weirdos and discuss with them. Now, Gina had no problem, you know, telling that she's not racist. She's not racist to anybody, you know. But then, of course, as she was saying that it's my opinion of what I believe how our country was being treated and all and everything, they all got really up and mad at her, pissed her off. But you know what, Gina? That's why Gina put in a tweet every time when you see it, beep, bop, boop. You know? So, of course, after The Mandalorian Season 2 came out and everything and was successful, they fired her. Socially. In the internet. Not in person, but socially. So, of course, a lot of people unsubscribed to Disney Plus, and everybody was just upset with what they did. So, one guy, before all this happened, one podcast person. His name is Jay. He's also known as Drunk 3PO. He was having an interview with her of what happened in the situation. And, you know, he brought her into the light. I mean, after what happened to her and everything, he brought her back into the light. He brought her back. And it was not just with his help. It was the help of Geeks and Gamers and Neurotic, who also does Friday Night Tights, and Rippaverse. You know, these are the people that I watch. That's why I respect these people. They're not haters. These are fans of what they enjoy in their franchises, man. But a lot of you guys don't understand that, bro. A lot of you guys don't understand that. So, you know, the Daily Wire interviewed her, same situation, what happened to her. And she did a movie with them, Terror on the Prairie, which to me it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. You know? But you know, it goes to tell you, man, there are actresses and actors out there in Hollywood that they don't want to say nothing, but they are sick and tired of what's going on with Hollywood. They're sick and tired. And I read the other day, a week ago, that Sylvester Stallone, he was sick and tired of fucking Hollywood, and he's decided to leave, go to Florida. Sylvester, if you're seeing this, bro, about time, and thank you. Get out of there, bro. It's not worth it, dude. It's not worth it. So, I'm early. Getting ready, you know, getting my stuff ready to go to work and all. But I'm just getting this ready, getting this prepped. So then we get this party started. So I am hoping these will be successful. Now, you know, I mean, this has been a journey, you know, for Gina, you know. But I can't wait to watch this interview to just see how this goes and everything. But I know Gina's because she's going to do great, bro. She's going to do fine. And what's going on with her so far is that she, with the help of Elon Musk in Twitter, is filed a lawsuit against Disney. So Disney is getting their hands full with all this. And now with this coming out, oh man, this is gonna be a party, bro. So I hope you guys are tuning in I hope you guys like this video. Please share this. Write a comment below. Just tell me what you guys think of my podcasting and what you think of this live reaction with Gina Carano. So give me a few minutes. I'll be right back, and I'll try to discuss. I'm going to discuss something about myself before we get started. So I'll be right back. Let me just take this. Hey guys, sorry I just took long because I was getting my food ready and prepped. So yeah, I mean I'm starting this thing. It took me about a couple weeks to try to get used to this. You know, I went from just YouTubing live for myself, which you saw, and then I had to download the OBS Studio, and I had a little situation there, but I had help from my cousins, and here I am now. So far I'm still trying to get the kicks and get used to it, but I'm hoping with this will probably be a bit success. You know, I did do some tests, you know, just to see how this goes. So we're gonna hope this does go well. So let's see. Right now we are at, what's the time frame now? Right now it's 7 minutes. We got 7 minutes left for this thing to start. Now, most likely this may not start on time. So this may not start on time. So we'll see how that goes from there and all. So hopefully it will start. Now I have to let you. I have to do this. I do have another job, and I have to get ready. And I have to get ready to go soon. So what I gotta do is I gotta end this stream about 10:30, maybe about 10:45 if it get close. So then that way I can eat my food and then get ready to go to work. Get ready to go. So I am hoping that the interview will the show will start with Gina Carano's interview, and I can see more of this and everything. So I hope that this will be good for me, man. This will succeed. This will be my success. So I'm a little nervous about this. So I'm probably gonna most of the time just watch and listen and everything, you know. And like I said, we're gonna be seeing what they're gonna be asking her questions about what happened with her. They're gonna just discuss how she's been doing, and they're gonna discuss what the outcome is, what's going on. So we are less than 6 minutes out, I believe. Let's see. No, 5 minutes out. We're about 5 minutes out. So everybody right now, I guess everyone that is streaming this is getting ready to watch this thing. So and right now, as for myself, I'm ready. You know, maybe I'll get some super chats and everything. But we shall see. We shall see. So I'm ready. Oh man. I'm gonna check out some things real quick, and I'll be right back. All right? Bye. Okay. All right, we are back, and let us see. All right, right now we're waiting for them, which was no surprise. Let's see. They're still doing. They're still. I'm just retrieving this thing. I'm just writing a review. Yeah, right now we're just waiting for them to start their thing up. So yeah, I mean, I kind of figured that's what was going to happen, but I'm just hoping that it starts. So let's see, man. Everybody's excited. They got people that are here from Cobra Cast, Geeks and Gamers, the 199, where they're there right now, supporting Gina on this. I'm sure that you got the Geeks and Gamers members, Gina, Drunk 3PO. They're gonna react to this live broadcast as I am gonna be doing. So let's see, because I'm still waiting. Yeah, man. I mean, this is going to be intense. This is going to be interesting. And right now, I'm seeing that. So, yeah. There's Drunk 3PO, man. Let me say hi. Let me holler to him, bro. Doing a live broadcast. Yeah, man. Come on, man. Let's do this. Yeah, we're still waiting, bro. Still waiting. Hmm. All right, let me see if I still have the thing right where I want it, unless I got to change it. Yeah, I'm still on it. Yeah, I'm still there. All right, so we're doing good. So far, so good. There we go. Hmm. Just refreshing to see, you know. Sometimes if you refresh it, but so far nothing. Hmm. All right, let's see. Something's. Come on, man. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get this thing started, man. I prepped myself for this, man. I really do not want to be disappointed. But yeah, but it's like I said, Bull. Sometimes these interviews, sometimes these podcasts, they tend to take long. They tend to like be late, you know, getting their stuff together, get it ready. But you know, it just happens. You know, there's nothing we can do really. Let me see. Let me see. In there, and they tell me. Oh man. Yeah, right now the chat page is saying that nothing's going on. So let's see. Wait, I got a notification on my phone. Let me see what we got here. Oh, let me see something. I'm gonna check my phone real quick. Let's see what we got here. Well, let me get this ready to go down to the screen. Let me get this ready. So that way we're in position. Watch this thing play out. Yeah, right now it's the same thing. Yeah, something's. Damn. Damn. Come on, guys. Man, I can't be here too long, man. I wanna get this thing going, dude. I want this thing to go. Come on. Come on, guys. Where are you guys? It's just like I said, bro. Every time they tend to start this thing a little, they tend to start this late, man. Every podcaster tends to come late. Let me type that down. Tends to start late. Come on, guys. Come on, man. Let's go. I know it's not your fault, Jay. Come on, man. God, man. Damn. Man, I hate to pull away. Making sure everything's good. And then it starts, and I'm missing it. I don't want to miss this, man. So, I mean, I just want to get a reaction on this, man. I just want to look at this thing and be proud of Gina, bro. Come on, guys. Oh, man. So let me see. Let me check my phone. Refresh it. Still nothing. My God, bro. I mean, one person in the chat page said 9:15. Well, let's see, bro. Dang, man. I may only probably be here for like only for like an hour and a half, maybe, if that's the case. But I mean, it is what it is, bro. There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do. So, come on, guys. Come on, you guys. You're disappointing us, man. And I know there's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna be doing a reaction on this, bro. I know Drunk Repeal's in there already. I know that probably Jeremy will probably do a podcast on a live reaction on this. Jello Flash, Ripper probably, Ryan Kennel maybe. I mean, there's gonna be a bunch of people that's gonna probably do this, bro. That I love. They're gonna go live with this. They're going to take a reaction on this. So, Jay, if you're going to be doing that podcast, if you're going to be doing that live podcast thing with Jeremy or Ryan on Geeks and Gamers Daily, I hope you damn mention me in that thing, man, because I was up for this, and I said that it was going to happen last night. Well, actually, it was early midnight. So, well, hey, it don't matter. It'll be a fun blast. Come on, guys. Come on, man. Start this thing already. It's 9:13. Let's see. Let's see if this guy in the chat was right that it would be 9:15. Oh, there we go. It's on. Let's get it on.
30 seconds. Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could take sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
All right, showtime.
Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving values contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we can't no value to haters. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
Okay, so episode 371 today with the great Gina Carano. Now, before I want to kind of go through the background and a few things that she's done. If you remember the work that she's done, she's been in a lot of movies: Fast and the Furious 6, Deadpool, The Mandalorian, 2019, 2020. She was about to do her own series afterwards. There was a bit of a falling out with her and Disney. I mean, I want to know how dinner went last night with Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger. I heard you guys had dinner last night.
He forgot to mention that she did Haywire.
And before that,
which was a very good movie, by the way.
Okay, and not just a regular fighter. Ronda Rousey said her inspiration to become a UFC fighter was Gina Carano. And by the way, her father was a quarterback for the Cowboys. 7 seasons, apparently. I didn't even know that. I'm like, that's pretty wild, right?
Yeah.
Where the right genes are in there. And she doesn't do well with bullying. She doesn't like it when you try to force her to do something, specifically if the company's name is called Disney. She has a hard time with that. So if you try to bully her, it won't work out in your favor. And aside from that, we were going to have Adam on. Adam was so worried about today's podcast.
Shivering.
It was shivering.
He told the Uber to turn around.
Never left Miami. Said, I'm not going to be able to do this. So it's great to have you on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So how was dinner last night?
All right, Gina!
Fabulous. We got everything out and the world is set straight.
Really? What'd you guys talk about? How was it?
Here we go.
Taking over.
Before people start tweeting, there was no dinner. That's a joke, by the way, for people that are maybe.
No, I'm taking over.
Yeah, that part is a different story. Yeah, so
I endorse that part.
So look, I mean, all of us, we've been following your story for a while. We know you. We've seen you in movies. We've seen you fighting. We've seen you, going through what you went through with Disney. I think when was it? 21 when they made a decision to go a different direction. Can you kind of walk us through, what happened with Disney recently, the last 3-4 years, and today I read that Musk wants to help you out on the legal side. Kind of walk us through what's been going on lately.
Do you want lately as in the version from where Musk came in?
Go in from everything's going great with Disney.
Fired.
All of a sudden, fired. Yes, go from there.
Too fired.
Yes.
It was going great. I was never political. I think that certain people in certain times of their life find themselves finally having opinions on things. So before, I'd always thought, I pay my taxes. I do what I got to do. I've met a couple politicians, and they seemed kind of gross. And so I was like never into the political. It wasn't like I want to go find a politician husband someday, because that wasn't my style. So I just kind of stayed out of it. And then I started noticing things around 2020 that were concerning, like everybody did. I feel like I'm like the average person who is just waking up to what is actually happening in the world in 2020.
Yeah, exactly,
And so I started expressing certain, concerns about, well, first of all, like when the pandemic hit, I was like, oh my gosh, like I was thinking everybody's going to turn green and boils were going to start happening and we're all just going to start falling, dead. And then, and I was really nervous for those 3 weeks. And then I started noticing, okay, but wait, it's okay for a protest and it's okay, to be that close to a cop and screaming and spitting in their face. And we're not worried about COVID then, but we're worried about, people going to churches, or we're worried about these smaller businesses. Meanwhile, the bigger businesses are being kept open. And so it really just bothered me. And so I started vocalizing those kinds of things.
Gina, at the time, is that happening because of a guy you're with, friends you're talking to, friends in Hollywood that are behind closed doors saying, what the F is going on? What is this all about? It's kind of weird. Is it because of a person you heard speak? What inspired you to be a little bit more vocal? Was there any individual involved in that inspiration?
No,
Okay.
I was I had gotten wrapped season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was around March 2020. And I had time on my hands.
Wow, that's the peak. That's when it started, by the way. March 14th.
That was the NBA day.
That's right. NHL, NBA. We were in LA. We were going to do a board meeting, and all of a sudden, boom, board is canceled. No one's showing up, and we had to fly back to Dallas.
Yeah, I think we wrapped season 2 of The Mandalorian March 4th or 5th, 2020.
10 days before. Wow.
And then I just started looking up,
Yeah, that's when the pandemic started. That's when it all started in March. And during that time, for me, I took a package that I get to stay home for some time, but I got paid from the government just not enough, and everything. But, it's just it is what it is. And what's been, and now she's describing what's been happening with her and all this. And it's like it's like what she said, during that time, we were a little worried, but at the same time, you got people that are protesting and everything, spitting on cops' faces. Saliva that could lead to something, an infection. But see, man, that's why politics, man. It just sucks. She didn't want to be into politics, but happens. So let's continue on.
Online, and I start doing my own research, and I start just kind of, trying to develop my own opinions. Like, I don't keep a lot of people around me. I have my family, and my family is very non-political. Like, talking about politics in my family is not something I grew up with at all, because we're in the service industry in my family, and so it's about, you let anybody, come to the table and just, believe what they believe. And
wasn't your dad like a executive at a casino? What did he do at a casino? What was his?
Yeah, we're in the
after football.
Yeah, we're in the casino business. I say my family is in the casino.
Got
business.
It. Okay, so
and they keep their beliefs to themselves, and they have never. I mean, I wouldn't even be able to tell you who's like a Democrat or a Republican or independent in my family, because we just don't talk about it. It's, if you're in the service industry, you're having people come from all over the world.
That's right.
So, that's what you keep off the table.
What was and while you're in Hollywood doing movies, and you're around, a lot of people that you're doing all these movies, were you starting to see any signs of weird things going on, or was it sudden in March of 2020 that everything got kind of weird?
It was sudden.
Okay.
I wasn't paying attention. I was so focused on building a career, and having come from professional fighting when I started in 2021, you're just like constantly trying to keep working, constantly trying to get that next job. And, being on a series of Mandalorian and actually getting the second one and, having a show, that's peak because then you can start doing the stuff that you really, really want to do. So it was very sudden for me. When
you went vocal and like, when was the first time was there a tweet? What was it that you said? Yeah, I know you said some things about BLM. I know you said some things about a few different things. What was the first thing you said that got the world to say, wait a minute, what kind of a position is she taking here? Well,
I mean, I was, when I saw the George Floyd thing happen, I did do the whole black square in my Instagram for.
You did do it.
I did, and even at the beginning of COVID, I did say, there was this really funny thing where I was like, we need to keep the masks for the hospitals so you can make these little masks out of your bras if they're padded. And so it's like, I was part.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Like, yo, Gina, bro, I can't believe she actually said that. That's funny, bro. No, that's funny, man. Oh, Jesus. Damn it. I messed up a little bit. No, that's funny. But, man, I mean, God bless, bro. God bless Gina, man. She's awesome at this, bro. She really is awesome, bro. And, she's speaking out details of what has happened, what is going on. She was not involved in this. She did not look at what was going on with politics. She was trying to get her career going and everything until she saw what happened with George Floyd and everything, and she woke up. And she saw it all. So
participating, and I was like, I wanted, from my heart, I wanted everybody to be okay, and I didn't want them to be fearful, and I wanted us to all. But then I started watching more of what was happening from a different perspective, and my perspective grew, and then I took the black square out because I was like, oh. And then I was like, and not because I don't think that things are like not messed up or wrong. It's just because, trendy stuff is just, it's not where I want to be.
So the black square you do.
I did, and took it off. And the black square was basically like, every time anything happens in the world, I only want to tell them, like, I want to tell people, take a breath, take a moment. There's going to be a lot of emotional reactions. And if we take a breath and really kind of like hear what actually transpired, let's get there. But it's really hard for.
I think that's important for the audience, because it's not like you're a staunch conservative, Republican, libertarian. There's no way I'm doing this. You've always been like this, and you're not going to put the black square. No, you're actually like, no, this is noble.
Like,
this
get
is
your
not.
brows out, put it on your face.
That's right. So you're doing this, and then at what point are you like, no, this is ridiculous?
It was really when the protest started happening, and I realized, wait a second. I come from, a family that started, both my grandfathers started their businesses from scratch. And so you're shutting down all of these mom and pop and smaller restaurants, and, you're keeping open Walmart, and it's just like, I started really feeling for, those people that were getting destroyed during that time. And it was the hypocrisy that I had the biggest problem with. Like, if you can go to a protest, then you can go to church, which church, for a lot of people, is where, you can calm yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or walks on the beach. And living in California, they were destroying the volleyballs, the volleyball.
See, a lot of that stuff happened in California. They closed its small businesses. Small businesses. While big other businesses, like she said, Walmart, Target, and them, were open. So if you can open those damn stores, why not open those small businesses? Oh my God. Keep going, girl. Keep going.
Like, they were chasing people on the beach who were going for a walk.
Ridiculous.
Who were around no one. And so that pissed me off. Like, it did a lot of people.
Again, nothing to do with you watching a Joe Rogan podcast or the news or reading an article. This is all you individually. You're like, this shit doesn't make sense.
Yes.
Okay. So then public, what's the first public outlet where you gave a message where people in Hollywood are like, wait a minute, what's this all about? What did you say that pissed some people off?
There's a number of things that piss people off. I think I told people to open up their businesses. If, you can write on the streets, you can open up your business. That's
Common
your
sense.
Right. I told people, I think the first real massive problem that I really, really ran into was it sounds so silly right now to say the beep bop boop.
Yeah, the trans thing.
I mean, I don't know how I'm going to explain this later on in life, to family.
There you go, Gina. Come on.
Be like, what happened there? I'm like, well, I beep bopped and booped a little too hard, apparently.
Yeah.
So I put the beep bop boop in my profile just only to show that you can.
Jay, get those shirts up and
happening online.
I'll buy one from you, bro. I'll buy one.
But 3 years ago,
just like I bought your rebellion shirt.
Which one prompted
I'll
Disney
buy that Bebop Boop
or
shirt.
your agent or managers from Hollywood, bless you, to call you and say, hey, Gina, you can't do that. We're about to get you a big job. You cannot post this. Please take this off.
They never said they never said that. They said, we need to educate you about the beep bop. And
who's they?
The publicists and the publicists who are answering to the higher ups.
And these publicists that you're paying or somebody else is paying?
Well, actually both. And that's a very good question. Publicists, the way that Hollywood works and the way it's been happening is like, I can hire a publicist for $4,000 to $6,000 a month, right? And they could be working for me. But some of them are answering to
That's why I asked
Disney,
the question, yeah.
right? And so Disney's got their own publicist. And so you've got the agents, you've got the managers, you've got the publicists, and everybody's like so excited about these bigger companies that they're not really taking care of the individual. And then you've got the media, and everybody's got their own journalists that they call to put out information. And it's like, it's a mafia, and a person does not stand a chance when they're not going along with the narrative. So
the publicist calls you, both, and then who else, like from high up brass? Did anybody from high ranking brass Disney? Did anybody call you and say, this is not going to work out? Let us educate you on what's the right approach, or no? No, actually, I offered that. I said, if Kathleen Kennedy would like to get on the phone with me, I have no problem with that. Let's talk about this. I've met her a couple of times, and obviously this is coming from that direction. Please, I'd love to talk woman to woman about, anybody who I talk to. I was trying to be very agreeable. At the same time, I'm dealing with...
Yeah, I'm seeing right now that Jeremy's here.
I don't know.
He's watching this also.
the hardest thing
Shout out
one
to
of the
you,
hardest things
Jeremy.
I've ever been through, especially because I was so naive of what was happening. Now it's a lot different. Now I would have handled it differently, and I would have been a lot calmer. But like I got so stressed to the point.
You know, if John Favreau and Dave Filoni, if they would have supported Gina, man, backed her up and everything, this would not have happened to her, man. But of course, they bend the damn knee, bro, to this fucking bitch. Fucking Kathleen Kennedy, bro.
Kind of like my skin hurting, and I was just like, you don't want to be disappointing people. You don't want to be disappointing the best job you've ever had. But at the same time, when you feel like your line is here and people are intruding over into your this protective space that would make it feel like you're betraying yourself, then you just got to hold that line. So
is it true that Kathleen Kennedy is the reputation I hear about her, super sweet, very reasonable, understanding, fun to be around? Why are you guys laughing?
She's got the language.
Because I just saw the photo that Rob got up there. She doesn't look like that person.
She's got the language of a Mormon mother.
Yeah.
Mormon mother. Is that what your experience has been with her, or how?
My experience with Kathleen Kennedy, and by the way, she has had a phenomenal history of work.
Sure.
That I respect as a woman to woman. You'll see her name pop up on some of these movies, and it's like, wow, that is quite incredible, actually. And so I don't know her entire story. I don't know what made her have this wall of defense that she's had. Maybe she'll tell us all that story someday. But it was very cold, but trying. So John Favreau, who is the complete opposite, is just this bear of a man who is just the most lovable person. And he would, I get shyer, and so he would be like standing there between me and Kathleen Kennedy, and try to initiate the conversations. And it wasn't
John, you should have backed her up,
it
bro.
wasn't ever bad on set. It was never
fought for her,
anything
bro.
like that. I had no problems on set. It was beautiful on set. And if a woman's like that, it's fine. There's plenty of women that are like that. You don't have to be the executive of a company and be a nice person. But it was the problems that came afterwards and that energy that happened.
So what was that experience like? So on set, you worked on set with her and Favreau.
She was there very rarely. Like
very rarely.
I think I saw her maybe 2 or 3 times.
And your interaction with her when you spoke, how many, if we were to say, this is how many minutes I've spoken to Kathleen Kennedy, what would you say the total time is?
I'd say like 20 minutes.
Okay. And the 20 minutes, was it more like, hey, how you doing? How are things? Or is it more like, don't do this? This has changed this. What was it 20 minutes like?
It was like 2 magnets.
Oh, really? And was it obvious?
I mean, to me, it felt odd, but I'm sensitive to energy, so like I was like, trying to be my normal self. And, she does have walls up. And so it's like, okay, I don't know why those walls are there, but it was just like that. And that's what it is.
From the beginning, Gina, or was it after she started realizing, like, you were awake, not woke? You know what I mean? Like, or was it from the beginning?
It was
you just
from
had
the
that
beginning.
energy. Gotcha.
It was from the beginning. I remember we went to the Star Wars celebration, and we were all up on stage, and we go through, everybody go through, they get announced, and they go through, and they shake everybody else's hand. And Kathleen Kennedy, I think, was like towards the end. And she shook everybody else's hand, and I go to shake her hand, and she didn't shake my hand.
Get out of here.
And I was like,
okay.
All right, what is that?
Accidentally, like she didn't see it, or
no,
intentionally?
she just looked at me.
You think she's threatened? Maybe she's threatened by you.
I have no idea. I just realized, like, that's that energy. That's what
See,
that's
that's
like.
what she was a bitch, man, to her, man.
March 5th, when she was like that, or?
That was the first introduction into Star Wars. Like, that was my first. I'm all excited, and I'm like, happy to be up on stage, and then I was like, okay.
Now let me ask you, when
nothing has happened yet. There hasn't been an interchange. She just kind of a power move.
That's what she said. Yes.
Yeah.
So when you're meeting her, are people saying things like, "Hey Gina, few things you need to know when you work here. That person is this person is this, that person is this. Like, you know how you go into a sports team, like Brett Favre used to play for the Green Bay Packers, and the quarterback coach was it Mariucci, Tom? Mariucci was a QB coach, or I think it was Mariucci.
Mariucci started QB coach in the whole West Coast systems.
And the coach was it Sherman? Who was the coach? Not
Holmgren. Mike Holmgren. Big guy.
And Brett Favre
the Walrus.
And Holmgren would always have issues. But Mariucci was like in between the buffers. Like, I got you. Don't worry. You and I will work together. And coach just wants for you to perform better. Did anybody like kind of, prepare you for what to expect with these strong media personalities?
No. And I think that Star Wars being one of the biggest fan bases and also one of the most controversial kind of toxic fan bases, there's got two different sides, which I have my theory on that. I feel like when you go into that kind of job, there needs to be immediate media training, immediate understanding of the environment, and to really just kind of like prepare people for that. Because, but I think that we'll eventually get there. It just wasn't there at that time.
Got it. Okay. So Kathleen Kennedy, first experience isn't that good. John is, I played poker with John one night. Jon Favreau, Vince Vaughn, and the guy from Christmas Story, redheaded guy who becomes a producer later on, Peter something. I don't know what his name is.
He's boys with.
Oh my God, John was funny.
He's so wonderful.
He is so amazingly.
He is my favorite person in Hollywood to have ever worked with.
Why is that? Why is that?
He cares, and he's able to reach everybody in the room. He'll come before a scene and he'll just let everybody know exactly. He'll somehow make everybody in that room feel like they have a diamond that they're holding.
Good for him.
And he is just this beautiful, big-hearted man who it has broken my heart to have had gone through this and know that has probably negatively affected him because he is just my favorite. Like, he knew how to get into my mind. He knew how to direct me. He knew.
Sick.
Yeah.
And by the way, his birthday is October 19th. I'm October 18th. I remember there was one hand where Vince goes all in. Okay, and it's like $2,500.
Oh wow!
And at this point, we've been playing for 5 hours. This is when Vince was doing the movie with Jennifer Aniston. Was it Breakup?
Yeah.
Oh,
I love that.
And so he's there with flip flops. I mean, they're just like regular 3 o'clock
I'm doing
in the morning,
this podcast, and I'm also
next is
typing in
John.
The chat
and
page
John's
in
like,
there.
Look, guys, I'm not
Same
into this.
time.
I'm going to let you two Middle Easterns go at it. I'm like, Middle Easterns? I didn't even know Vince Vaughn was Middle Eastern. Apparently, he's Lebanese or something.
Are you serious?
Didn't he go to Vince Vaughn? Is he Lebanese?
Oh, this is great, bro.
He's from Chicago, right?
Well, he's from Chicago,
I mean,
but
there's a lot of
Lebanese.
Lebanese.
I'm like, what Lebanese? I had to actually look in. Can you see if his background is like Lebanese? Is Italian? Lebanese. There you go.
Wow, what a mix.
So he says, yeah, he's Lebanese. I said, I'm going to let the Middle Easterns, you and Iran and Lebanese, go at it. Anyways,
wait, are you guys going off of Wikipedia here?
Yeah.
Oh, dang, dangerous. Dangerous.
Yeah.
Don't look at mine. I don't want to know.
Okay. Well,
You're Lebanese too. Just letting you know.
Yeah.
You're just Lebanese today.
Wow, man.
You're a Syrian Lebanese.
anyways, but the point is, John was a freaking breath of fresh air to be around, right? Just a chill guy. And by the way, it's important for people to realize, Adam pointed this out a couple of days ago, there's 2 Jon Favreaus on Twitter.
Yes.
There's a Jon Favreau that's an Obama speechwriter. This is not the same Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau.
Because that Jon Favreau is super woke, loud. You're like, it almost confuses you a little bit.
Please find the right Jon Favreau. And also, Jon's, I don't think he's really on Twitter. I think he watches from the background sometimes, but I think, he's I think his whole thing is like, he loves to just fly right below the radar, so that he can do what he can do. But I believe the man is an emotional genius. I believe he's a genius in storytelling. I mean, I think there's something very special.
That's cool.
Him.
That's good to hear from because that's the impression I get from him, anyways.
Yeah.
Were there a lot of people in Hollywood who reached out to you who agreed with you but couldn't be vocal? And they said, look, you're right. We're with you. We agree with you, but we can't publicly agree because it's going to hurt our career. Did you get a lot of calls like that?
Not initially. I got no calls initially, but I got a lot of support and have gotten more support. I go to these fan expos and people will have me come up to their booths and they're like, "We're so with you, sister. We're so with you." And I'm like, I know. And they think, I think there's a lot more people in the middle. And a lot of these actors are just, I know a lot of my co-stars, they hate what happened to me. Bill Burr was just as incredible and awesome. And he was like, he's like, she's a sweetheart. And if I say anything, I'm going to get canceled. And so at the time, 3 years ago, it was a different environment and it was hard for people to speak up. But every single one of my co-stars, including Pedro and Carl, did not believe what happened to me was correct.
Which tweet was it, or what did you say that got you fired?
I think the final straw was the Holocaust tweet. And
you see, Pedro Pascal felt sorry for her that she got fired, but he should have been fired too for what he did. But since he was on the narrative side, he didn't get fired. But she did, because she wasn't on their narrative. She didn't follow their narrative. So, it's sad, Bo. It really is sad. It really is sad for what happened to Gina, man. Well, let's continue on.
And when I had posted it on you remember Twitter used to have or X used to have the Fleet section, which is like the Instagram version of the stories. Well, I'd put it up there and I put it in my, and I was just kind of like, and
I actually like the Fleet. I don't know why they got rid of it.
I like the Fleet too.
I don't know why
Bring
they
back
got rid
the Fleet,
of it.
Elon. We like
Fleet
the Fleet.
Was great.
So this is the
zoom in a little bit, Rob.
Yeah.
The infamous tweet.
The infamous tweet.
Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children, because history is edited. Rob, I don't want an ad, Rob. Gina, because history is edited.
They're watching us.
Most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is this any different from hating someone for their political views?
So if you just read that first part, yeah, that would be a messed up, thing, right? But when you read the whole
just
thing,
her own opinion. That's all
my
it was.
interpretation. And what I would like to do is I'd like to put thought pieces out. I'd constantly put thought pieces out so that people would just get their mind working.
Disney did this to themselves, man.
My question was always and I think a lot of people thought this, before 2020, I never understood how a population of people could demonize a group of people and allow them to get, taken from right next door and shipped off to a concentration camp, and ashes are falling from the sky. And there's, I just couldn't understand how that could happen. And I've always been so fascinated with the World War II movies. They're some of my favorite. So in this tweet, I thought, this is something where I feel like if we keep demonizing each other, if there's this demonizing between neighbors, if you keep on doing that towards one another, we're going to end up in a bad place. And that was that's how my mind simply just read it like that. And then I didn't know, I didn't know that you get canceled if you bring up the Holocaust in any way, apparently.
When was this tweet, by the way?
I think it was in September.
September 21.
Or no, 2020. Yeah.
September 2020.
Yeah.
And then how much longer after this were you fired?
I was fired February 2021.
Oh, so that's 5 months later.
And there was a lot of torture in that 5 months.
What happened during that 5 months?
Well, from the Beep Bop Boop, which happened, I think, in August, it was just inflamed. It was inflamed, right? The whole, my whole experience, and it was inflamed. I was going through this massive struggle session. And, so I just finally they just stopped contacting me around, I think, after December. And I hadn't heard from them. And I was like, well, look, there's that.
Does your agent contact you and be like, hey, listen, they're not even, there has to be some type of communication, because you were even about to have a spinoff of your own show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so I got a phone call from Jon Favreau, I think it was October or November, and they had told me, he had said, I was like, okay, what kind of conversation is this going to be? And he was like, it's all positive, Gina. It's great. Everything's good. You're going to be great. And I want you to know that your life's about to change because I have written the pilot of Rangers of the New Republic, and it was okayed by Disney, and you're on your way.
What a phone call.
And it was like, after all of the awful things that had been happening, I was just like, oh my gosh, like, this is insane. This is wonderful. And I'm seeing, you know, everybody's being very emotional. All my male co-stars, all of like everybody's allowed to like say their opinions online. So I stuck to continuing.
Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni bended
but I
the
don't
knee.
think I ever said anything that was
bended that fucking knee.
I think that was like the most intense that it got, which you could see something like that on, the Holocaust Twitter account. Like that's like history. So he called me and told me that, and I was like, on cloud nine, like, okay, it's happening.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. And then so that's good news.
That was wonderful news.
October, November, but then what happened February?
February was that tweet.
Oh, you tweeted that September, though, right?
Oh, no. Okay, I'm so sorry. I think September's the pronoun, the beep, bop, boop.
Got it. That's February.
That February 2021 was that tweet.
So how much longer after that was it instant?
It was the day, I think.
It was the day.
Like within hours.
And is this when they made the announcement where, even I think Bob Iger came out, Gina Carano, Bob Iger comes out and defends the firing, the Mandalorian. We stand for our values. I think Bob said this.
Was that Bob Iger or Bob Chapek?
Could be Chapek. Let me see. It says Bob. Disney. Okay, this is Chapek because Iger's not back yet. Disney CEO defends Gina Carano's firing from the Mandalorian. We stand for values that are universal. Bob Chapek defends the firing, emphasizing the company's commitment to universal values such as respect, decency, integrity, and inclusion. Chapek stated, I don't really see Disney as characterizing itself as left-leaning or right-leaning, highlighting their focus on creating content reflective of the most world's diversity. He continued, yet instead, standing for values. Rob, can you pull up what percentage of the Disney executives give their money to the left or the right? Because that's public information when they say left-leaning and right-leaning, Mr. Chapek, with all due respect.
Yeah.
Yet instead,
my
standing for
cousin was trying to call
values
me.
that are universal, value for respect, value for decency. Again, going back to the same thing. Carano's termination came after she likened modern-day Republican Holocaust victims in now deleted Instagram post. She wrote what we just read a minute ago.
Which was never posted. It was always in a story, and it was among a bunch of other, it was never deleted.
A post. It was a fleet that kind of expires 24 hours. Mm-hmm. Got it. Despite similarities in social media activity with co-star Pedro Pascal, who shared a post complaining Trump voters to Nazis, Carano was the one let go. So Chapek versus Kathleen Kennedy. How much of this firing do you think was Chapek? How much of this firing do you think was Kathleen Kennedy? By the way, is this it, Rob, in 2020? Yes. Right there. So that's the percentage of money they gave to the left versus the right. So if we take that, I think it's fair to say, Tom, 80% of the, 7.64 million. What's the other one, Rob?
It's not left-leaning.
So let's
it's fallen on the ground to the left.
Give me the number. 7.6 million plus what? Plus 1.4?
Yes, 1.42.
So 7.4 million divided by 9, 82% of their money goes to the left. So you are left-leaning, Chapek, based on how you give your money. And it's like somebody that, says, I don't discriminate between Starbucks and Coffee Bean, yet 4 out of the 5 coffee you buy at Starbucks. You prefer Starbucks coffee. There's nothing wrong with that. Just be public about it. So who had more power in you getting fired? Do you think it's Chapek, or do you think Chapek got so many calls from Kathleen Kennedy that day that she's the reason why you got fired?
I think that is something that we're going to find out through discovery.
Because you're going through that right now.
Yeah, well,
Got it.
I mean, we have to get to the point where we get there right now. But we're going to find out. My question, I really can't wait to understand this one thing is, and you could probably pull up what they said about me, the comment that they said I was denigrating people off of cultural and religious beliefs, and that it was
fucking bullshit.
I want to know.
This has to be Kathleen Kennedy, though. My gut thinks it's Kathleen. My gut tells me it's Kathleen Kennedy.
That had to have been okayed because that was so damaging. And that quote right there was basically telling the rest of the industry, do not touch this person. She's off limits.
Wow.
Meanwhile, you have in Disney's plethora of actors. You've had, people be convicted of something, bad, and then they go on an apology tour that Disney, on one of Disney's channels. You've had,
Go back to that, Rob. Go back to that, Rob, because I want to make sure our audience sees this. I don't know if we put it up or not. Lucasfilm's statement from her firing stated her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. Carano is seeking damages to be... and this is February 6th, 3 weeks ago we're talking about.
No, they put that right out on, I think, February 10th was the date, 2021. Yeah.
When you got fired.
2021, yeah.
So now you're suing Mandalorian because of the statement.
But if you look at that statement,
yeah,
and then you go through everything that I've ever posted, and you go back through, I've had a Twitter account since 2009. I urge you to go through it. I'm sure they're combing through it right now. Comb through everything and see if that statement fits me. And it doesn't. 1,000% it doesn't.
Right. Exactly,
so
man.
Again, going back to Disney, SHAPEC, we stand by our values. The main one of the four is really the inclusion one, because the other three, you're doing it. It's not like you're not doing it. But the inclusion, okay, you're being, to their definition of what they got, as a left-leaning organization, Disney, based on 80% of their money going to Democrats, which, again, that's their position that they have. While that's happening, and they fired you afterwards, how many job offers you got, what calls you got, what calls stopped coming in, how did it directly impact you financially, lifestyle-wise, how dramatic was that?
I was getting, screeners, I was getting invited to auditions, I was meeting some of the better directors, I was going to the red carpets, I was... people were sending me stuff. I was just there, it was just happening for me. And it was so exciting. And on that moment, on February 10th, it just dropped. And the only phone call that came in, the phone call that came in was from Dana White, which I've known him for a long time. And he texted me and he said, "Hey, Ben Shapiro's trying to get a hold of you." And I was in bed just bawling, I was just devastated. And Ben Shapiro's the call that came in.
Ben Shapiro's the call that came in.
The only one, yeah.
By the way, do you want to know something crazy?
You played poker with Ben Shapiro.
No, not at all.
But he did not put 25,000.
Rob, can you do me a favor?
But he is Lebanese.
Can you do me a favor and pull this up? Let me tell you what the craziest shit I just found. Can you do me a favor and pull this? Tom, you're going to flip out with this, specifically the way you and I look at business and finances. Pull up what I just sent you right now on the link. This is pretty wild. So the firing happens February of 2021, okay? Do you want to know the craziest data that's going to freaking blow you away? It's so awesome. Let me tell you how awesome this is. Pull this up. Check this out. Do you know when Disney's valuation was the highest ever in the history of its company? Go lower, go to the highest point right there. Look at that. Go back a little bit. February 2021 is when Disney was worth the most ever. Wow. $341 billion. Wow. Compared to where they are today. Go to today's Disney's market cap. This is a little bit older. Go to Disney's okay, right there, $201 billion. They lost $140 billion from the day they fired you.
Wow.
I know that's not funny.
Well, it kind of is.
Is that not the craziest thing? You know what the market said?
Yeah, because mostly everybody left Disney Plus. That's why.
How many buses?
They didn't want to support Disney anymore.
Flops, 5 of them?
Especially what they did to Marvel.
That totaled around
Marvel,
$100 million in losses.
National Treasure, Indiana Jones.
$1 billion in losses.
I mean,
shit. It was $900 million for flops.
I did not like Indiana Jones.
The most
without Disney sucks to me, man.
Wow. Was right.
I did not like how they treated Harrison Ford.
Maybe it wasn't a good decision by SHAPEC. And when they did fire you, Iger had to come back, okay, because now they're trying to kind of figure out a way to make it work. Tom, do you mind kind of just real quick share a little bit on what's going on with Disney right now financially? I think it's very important now that we just shared this. What's the conditions of Disney right now financially with the reports that just came out?
Well, over a 5-year period, the stock is basically at zero. So if you bought Disney 5 years ago, you went on a little bit of a run, and you're actually down 5%. So you've lost 5% over 5 years. So that's not too good. That's not 10 years. That's like a near-term horizon. And this week, just the other day,
By the way, you're saying 5 years, FYI. 4 years from February 2020, if we go from February 2021 to today, 3 years, you know what the case is? What's 140 billion on 340 billion? Let's kind of do that, okay?
Oh, yeah, and if you jumped on the ride in the middle of it, it's been a bad experience.
Well, let me do this. By the way, in the last 3 years, Disney has lost 41%. So if you put $1 million in, your $1 million today is what would it be? $590,000 today, 3 years later. That's minus 41. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, to put it in trend,
Look at that,
so
bro.
a
It's
5-year
terrible.
investor is disappointed. A 3-year investor has an
all their
absolute
movie projects, all their cartoon shows,
Disney's board of directors
their
just puts out a
animations.
letter, and every
It's
company once a year puts out a letter talking
they've
about
been
people.
plummeting.
Hey, we're gonna
Every
re-elect our board
single
members,
project
standard
they have
stuff.
done have been
First
plummeting.
line of the letter. The board has been laser focused on strategy that will drive shareholder
Why, how do you have
value.
people going
In
to
other
these
words,
parks,
stock
man?
Price. That's the first thing. Not nice to see
pitiful.
you again. Wow, what a year it's been. Sometimes the opening of these letters is a little bit fluffy because there's a little bit of marketing in there. And it says, so we're going to restore our dividend that we declared in July. We're raising the dividend by 50%. So if you own a share of stock, you get a couple bucks from Disney as a dividend to be a shareholder. They're increasing it by 50%. That's called a bribe. Disney says, and we're also buying back $3 billion of shares off the market. Why that? Because fewer shares on the market, supply demand. It means the price should go up a little bit, but it's artificial. It's not being driven by a hit movie or great success. So we're going to do that. And the next thing is, and we promise you, we're reining in cost so that we can cut $7.5 billion of costs.
Odin said it. You said it, Odin. You go woke, you go broke.
About theme parks.
That's the answer. That's why Disney has been plummeting.
That was
They're with
all
this
of the
woke
first two
bullshit.
paragraphs. You get to the back.
Look what happened to Indiana Jones. It didn't make money.
Future, so they're
They
not
had a
selling division.
$350
not
million
right at all.
And then
budget.
the last paragraph goes to war. Now, remember, there's a couple big investors, the Trion Group with Nelson Peltz and the Blackwells, who are both saying, hey, we really think leadership is the issue because you're an entertainment company and we don't think you're very entertaining. That's an accurate statement. So we'd like to nominate some of our people to be on the board, to be the overseers, to guide the ship. And so they said, please know the Disney Board of Directors does not endorse the Trian Group, specifically Nelson Peltz and Jay Rasulo, or the Blackwell nominees, and believes they are unqualified to serve on our board and preserve value
Double
creation. Double dumb.
Double
So
dumb.
That's what they do. So they do that, and then they provide this little chart. There's a chart on the back. If you're listening on Spotify, you
love
can
charts.
see this. This is a chart. There are 9 squares on the
Rob,
chart.
do you have this or no? Okay, keep going, Tom.
There are 9 squares on the chart, and all of them are financial related to move the stock price. Cash dividend, 50%, $3 billion stock buyback, the things they said in the letter. You get down to the bottom, and there's one box in the corner of the bottom. We expect to reach profitability in our streaming business Q4 24. And also, by the way, we're going to do a $60 billion 10-year investment in our theme parks and cruise ships. And we're going to put more decision-making authority with creative teams. That's all they say. But there's nothing in here that we're excited about the movies in the front. And they brag about Academy Award nominations, but there's nothing in it about box office, nothing in it. At the same moment, this is called funny, the same moment on February 26th. So what do you get as a shareholder there, Pat? You sit there and read this and you go, well, what are you doing about the movies? You've had all these movie flops and losses. You're not talking about that in your shareholder letter. What the hell? Well, at the same moment, literally the same day, within an hour, they announce Sean Bailey, who has overseen live action movies of Disney, is stepping down. He will leave the company. We are this is Wall Street Journal. You've got Sean Bailey stepping down, Wall Street Journal, and it was literally 2 hours after the shareholder. There it is.
Disney head of live action movie to step. This is not a lightweight guy that's stepping down.
No, basically what they're doing is what they couldn't say in the shareholder letter is that they have a strategy and they've got traction and things are going with movies.
Shit.
They can't say it. So instead, what do? They chop off somebody's head and they throw the bloody body into the street. Sorry to be graphic,
Yeah.
Gina.
No, it happened to me too, so don't worry.
She's a fighter, Tom. She could take it.
I got thrown into the...
You see, this is what's been happening with all these. This is what's been happening with all these projects that Disney has done. This is what happens when they go political. They went woke. With all these Marvel characters, Willow, Indiana Jones, National Treasure, Star Wars, they go plummeted. Every damn project that they have touched went down the drain. You lost your viewers. Disney is losing money, man. That's why I urge you, man. I urge you. Don't go to these parks anymore. Screw Disney. Let them fall. Let them fall down to the drain. But if you guys still want to go to those parks, you still want to watch their shows, watch their movies and everything, try to give it hope, good luck. Good luck. But hey, I mean, more power to Gina and these people, man.
The street is
Yeah.
fine.
Exterior day, bloody executive rolls in street.
Yeah. Fade in.
It's a simple, it's a financial scene. So he said Bailey would be succeeded by David Greenbaum, and then they talk about he was at Searchlight Pictures, and we're also going to combine two positions and the newly created role of combined studio group leader. So that's an hour later. And then the Wall Street Journal, who has had enough of this crap, comes out and writes an article on Jay Rasulo. You know, one of the guys.
Is that the one, Tom? That one right there?
Yep.
Okay.
Meet the former.
You can show this to the audience.
So it's in there. Remember, this is one of the guys that they say are unqualified to serve of Disney's board. Jay Rasulo worked at Disney. He worked with Michael Eisner. He was part of Eisner's strategic planning team.
He was a former CFO.
He was a former CFO.
Which means he knows all the numbers.
That's exactly right. And he was brought by Eisner from Burbank to lead parks. He launched parks over in France, learned to speak French in 2 years so he could speak fluently with the team, crushed the returns, over 2,000% return.
Go back to where you were at, Ron.
On Disney Europe. And
wait, what is that? Jay Rasulo recalls meeting with a high-ranking Communist Party official on the trip to, not to give up. Jay, keep knocking at the gate. Someday it will open. What?
He also spent time going around the world for Disney to open doors. And he apparently had a dinner with a Communist Party official, said, hey, about being CEO of Disney, keep knocking at the gate. Someday it will open. Now, Eisner retires and Iger comes in, and Iger says, look, I like you as CFO. I don't like you as COO. And that's it. We're done here. He said, be my CFO. And Rasulo came back a month later actually, and said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do this anymore. So he leaves, and Rasulo, they throw a quote out. When, by the way, when Trian Group recruits him to be on the board, they throw out this. Disney spokesman. And later, it was, I didn't say that. That is a position of the company. So a little bit of a wimp there. In our view, Jay Rasulo's analog perspective is not relevant to the challenges of today's digital world. So they're trying to make him seem like old school, uninformed. No. It's not like he was making movies in the 60s. This guy is a CFO who knows where the bodies are buried, and he knows how the math adds up. And so...
Ooh, look at this guy.
So why is that scary for Disney?
He's killed 9 trees, just letting you know. But go ahead, Tom.
Why should Disney be worried today, Tom?
Because if Trian Group and their proxy get on there, why would Disney, inside Disney...
First of all, it's not just Nelson Peltz. It's 2 guys. Both of them are billion. One guy's worth $4 billion. The other guy's worth $1.5 billion. They got a lot of influence. They're sitting there saying, what the hell are you doing with this company now? We're losing money. It's not doing the kind of numbers it was doing. You're forgetting who your customers are. Parents that are wanting to take their kids to movies to watch a movie. Kids are not your customers. It's parents. Why are you pissing off parents who don't want to take the kids to movies? For us, Tom, when we go to movies, you know what's the first thing Tico does? I'll say, Tico, go look up, what's the app, Fandango. Go see what movies are out. Tico will say, Dad, it's probably going to be movies that we don't want to take the kids to. Tico's 12 years old when he says something like this, okay? He'll go, and I'm being serious. You've been around Tico to know who he is.
I know.
Yeah, so he'll say, no, we can't do this. And he'll go look at the score. No, there's another LG. There's a trans character here. There's a this character here. even kids are starting to. I just want a regular flipping movie. Stop trying to brainwash me.
Yeah.
This isn't working. So, at what point will Disney realize
That's what happens when you get
this shit's
picky.
not working? They got to change.
That's why you get. That's what happens when you get so picky at watching movies or shows.
That Blackwell or Treon is going to get somebody on the board. That's why they're trying to
it's
bribe
there.
shareholders.
Good for those guys.
Everything's okay. We're buying.
They're
back
on
$3 billion
point.
of
What they're
shares.
saying,
We're gonna give
they're
you a
on
dividend.
point.
It's okay. It's okay. Stick with us. Stick with us. As soon as those guys are in there, that basically everybody behind the curtain knows it's not working. It's just people are not strong enough to stand up to Kathleen Kennedy and the creatives that want to take a certain creative path. The minute these guys are on the board, all kinds of hell is going to break loose, and a lot of people are going to lose out, and there's going to be massive
Question for both of you
And
guys.
Iger goes from the ride of a lifetime to writing a turd. You know, it's basically what he's got in terms
So I got a
of
question for
performance
you.
right now.
I got you, Tom. So I got a question for you. So, and this is for you as well, since you're on the inside, you work with them. Who do you think has more influence in Disney? There's this book that John Maxwell wrote. I think it's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. One of the things he talks about is the law of E.F. Hutton. That back in the days, E.F. Hutton was the guy, he'd be in the room, and the main guy is the main decision maker, but the main guy would always say, hey, E.F. Hutton, what do you think about it? Okay, good. Boom. Okay, got it. So, hey, so what do you think about it? So eventually people realize that's the influence. He's going to E.F. Hutton to see what E.F. has to say. But like for Buffett was Charlie Munger, right? For everybody, there's somebody they go and say, what do you think? And that person is a very influential person. Who has got more influence at Disney? Do you think it's Kathleen Kennedy or do you think it's Iger?
Well, what I think, in my perspective, what happened is I think that these companies are so afraid of making maybe previous mistakes. And so they try to hire younger, maybe people with less life experience, and they want to stay current and up to date and ahead of the times. And so then they start really, they've got their assistants, and
I'll probably continue this
with people who maybe have never.
I'll probably continue this
the United States and never been somewhere and actually
when I get home tonight.
We really do have it here.
It'll probably end after when I get to work and leave,
it's
but
it's
of course I got to get ready to eat and I got to get ready to go.
Up the
so
ladder.
I
but
mean,
then I also think this is Star Wars. These problems.
This is a lot of this is
for a long time. You can't take that
this is important, man. This is something that everybody that needs to wake up and see what's going on.
That, on the Disney side and the Lucasfilm side. So I don't know how it all works. Is Kathleen Kennedy? She's obviously needs to be held responsible of Lucasfilm because she's been the leader. And then, on the other side, I think they're both responsible.
But who do you think has more? I'm looking at, if you pull up Kathleen Kennedy, the work she's done. By the way, I thought you were saying Kathleen Kennedy's young. I think you were talking about the assistant because
like the people that they hired. I think that they were I think they're just listening, and they're trying to be forward, but they didn't realize or maybe they did realize that or either way it's either that way or it's the opposite way. Like they're hiring a bunch of people they can control.
And which makes sense. By the way, just to give her credit on what she's worked on. Ready? This is Kathleen Kennedy.
Wow.
Thinks she's been the executive producer on Gremlins,
Poltergeist,
Back to the Future, The Goonies, Fandango, American Tail, okay? Back to the Future 2, Dad,
Young Sherlock Holmes.
I don't know what the hell that is. Gremlins 2.
An American
Back to the
Tale.
Future 3. Yeah. An American Tale.
Bunny
Crazy.
Pit.
Cape Fear.
Empire of the Sun. Oh my God,
Schindler's
yeah.
List. She was the executive producer on Schindler's List.
Wow.
So she, Jurassic Park, Lost Words, Signs, terrible movie.
Must have been a sign.
I watched it.
When she
I
was
watched
discovered, Pat, it was a 24-month period. I went back and I read about her bio. In a 24-month period, she went from E.T. to Indiana Jones to kick off her career as a frontline, top-line producer.
She did Munich, Tom. She did The Color Purple.
That was later, but those 24 months when everybody in Hollywood said, "Who is this woman?" It was E.T. and Indiana Jones in a 24-month period. Talk about box office. Talk about merchandising. Talk about good grief. Indiana Jones is a permanent ride. There's all these things that happen. And the rest of her career, she proved that was no fluke. So she's a professional in the industry. But
Does she have more influence than Bob Iger? That's what I want to know.
Well, I think she probably does now, and that was the point that South Park made in their parody, and all the voices in Hollywood. I mean, Trey Parker has been slightly conservative for a while, and he came out with that South Park evidence, the Panderdome, right? And all the whispers in Hollywood goes, yeah, that's the way it really is. And that's what I was noting. Not the fact that there was a parody, but all those voices were like, yeah, that's kind of the way it works there.
What did you think about when you saw with the South Park joining the Panderverse?
Oh, well, I did have a tweet about it.
A long one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, well, this is what's going to happen next. This is what I went through, basically. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of refreshing to know that people can see exactly what my experience was. And they're sitting there making fun of it, which I think, humor is positive. It was nice. It was nice I felt a little vindicated.
And Gina, and just going off of what you said, from everything that you've gone through, from the BLM stuff.
That South Park video was pretty good, bro.
Was back.
It was pretty good.
It was a scam. They stole all this money. Ridiculous, right? The trans thing, we're seeing more and more that it's like more of a mental thing. These people are,
think you're lame and gay.
A lot of them are doing
that's what
shootings now.
So
that's a whole different situation. And then the Disney, you're watching, you leave, they lose $100 billion because that whole thing. Does it kind of feel good inside? Like not necessarily vindication, but it must feel good inside your heart of hearts that you stuck to your guns and you were right this entire time. Does that feel?
It feels, I feel like I've been in the desert for the last couple of years, and that hasn't felt good. But the part that does feel good is I am honest and I am clear and my heart is good and I was coming from a good place, and that was very obvious. And I think that, so many people were watching what happened to me and they say, this is an innocent person here that you're destroying. You're going above and beyond to destroy this person. And I think that's why my case has had such an impact, because it was so obvious. It was just so in your face. So for the last couple of years, it's been a desert, and it's been hard, but it's okay to go through the desert, because then I got an email after I just realized, okay, maybe my life is going to be living in the desert now.
Yeah.
And I got an email from an attorney that said that they were representing X and that they'd like to look through my case. And I was like,
what a great phone call from John Favreau to now a lawyer from X going, I think we have something.
Well, they didn't know what I had.
Yeah.
They said, I want to look at what you have. And there's just been such, my life has been riddled with such incredible moments like that. I mean, incredible director Steven Soderbergh picked me up from fighting and gave me an awesome opportunity. John Favreau, incredible human being, amazing mentor, and really started finding my stride in acting. Ben Shapiro helped me out, and he just took the sting off of it, right? Like, I didn't take the cancellation away. We tried to really puff up and say, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine. And it was a door open. But as far as me, I'm still very much in the desert. And then here comes Elon Musk. And I'm just like, who does this happen to?
Yeah.
I'm just like, there's real men in the world that have opened doors for me that... it's just made my life so, for him to do this and X to do this for me it already has lifted this 1,000-pound, beast off of my chest, because whether I wanted it or not, I was carrying around the shame of being fired. Nobody wants to be fired. And so I was carrying around, whether I was trying to put on the brave face, I was carrying around the shame, and it was affecting me physically. It's been affecting me mentally. And then when I got that email, I responded within 3 hours, and I'm like, I don't care if I seem eager right now. I said, yes. Yes, I would love to speak with you. And then I got on the phone with them, and told them what happened, told them my story. They said, could you, send us some stuff? I just sent them everything that I had, and they ended up speaking with X and Elon and explaining the story, and they really believe that we have an awesome.
By the way, I mean, this is when you're telling the story.
I'll vote for Gina.
You know when you're asking a question, do you feel vindicated?
Yeah.
You know what's the thing? Okay, so let's just say you get money. Fine. That's one thing. But you know what's annoying? What? It's like you have such momentum, you're peaking, and you want to work. What is the purpose of money without me creating something? Being part of something. It's so frustrating when you're at your peak and you're not able to create, build. You got stuff that's going on at your best. That is so annoying.
When I'm working, and it always puts my dad in tears. It's the only time I see him in tears, is when I'm working, I am at my best because I'm consistent and diet's consistent, work is consistent, my health, my mental health. And that's also why I was speaking out about the lockdowns too, because you get a bus driver who's been, driving a bus for 30 years and might have an addiction problem, and you're going to shove him at home and stick him with like all this reality of at home, and then he's going to start drinking again. And now we've got alcoholism, now we've got deaths everywhere. So as an artist, I know what it's like to not work, and it's we need to work as humans, and it's really hard to kind of create your own work, which is what I'm doing now, finally. But I mean, it was devastating.
That's the part that's for us. I want to read this because the story comes out February 6th this year. Gina Carano sues Disney over Mandalorian firing in lawsuit funded by Elon Musk. This is the Hollywood Reporter. She initiates a lawsuit against Disney and Lucasfilms alleging discrimination and wrongful termination, stating my words were consistently twisted to demonize and dehumanize me as an alt-right wing extremist. Carano contends she was fired for her cultural and religious of ignoring offensive posts made by male co-stars and seeks a court order that would force Lucasfilms to recast her role with at least a $75,000 in damages. That's chump change to them. Elon Musk's X-Corp funds Carano's lawsuit, reflecting a broader debate on free speech and corporate influence, as Carano's case underscores tensions over online expression, with Musk's pledging to support user-facing discrimination, saying, I'm honored that my case has been chosen to be supported by the company that has been one of the last glimmers of hope for free speech. And then a couple days later, Forbes writes about this as well. Musk's rages against Disney's DEI Gestapo and doubles down on the crusade. In a series of posts on X, he published that what he claimed is Disney's full set of DEI standards and guidelines on how to achieve them. Musk savage the guidelines, which he describes as laws, as racist, sexist, and discriminatory.
Yeah, right now,
and
Elon has no respect for
most
Disney
of the
right
media
now. Giants
content from the past few years has sucked. The billionaire has...
and there are rumors that he is trying to buy Disney.
Vile,
He's thinking about it.
Navigating the DEI
But right
minefield
now,
will crush the creative process. It crushes the creative spirit
I don't think he won't do it.
of someone who just wants to make
probably
great
help
art, which is what we
do
just
it.
talked about. Musk
Well,
said in
probably
response
help
to a post
Phelps
from
to go
the
for
Libs
it.
of TikTok, a popular and
He'll probably
influential
do.
account known for its inflammatory posts and incendiary rhetoric against liberals, which often targets LGBTQ people. Now, keep in mind, this is Forbes. So Forbes has to play through the DI score. Without providing any evidence, Musk says the company's diversity program, when enforced by Disney's DI Gestapo, referencing Nazis, Germany, feared secret police, infamous for deploying brutal tactics and torture to support resistance. It must feel good that you got the most, powerful media, billionaire, wealthiest guy, modern-day Iron Man backing you up.
Well, it was the only way it was going to happen. And, I had to move out of Hermosa Beach. I had to move out of LA. I had paparazzi knowing where I lived. I had stalkers. I didn't live in a gated community. I was very much in danger where I was at. So sold the house, bought an RV, traveled across 25 states, and thought I was going to end up in Nashville with the Daily Wire. Didn't. Love them, but just wasn't just not where I ended up. And then I went up to Montana when we shot Terror on the Prairie, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the freedom. I felt like I could breathe. I could see the big sky.
Big sky country.
And I just felt like this is where I belong. This is where I feel safe. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's great. So how far are you guys right now with the lawsuit?
Good for you, Gina.
Well, I'm not very good at the lawyer stuff, but I believe they have a certain amount of time to respond.
They being Disney.
Yeah, they have a certain amount of time to respond to the case. And, that could be a number of different ways, I guess.
Oh, it's something at that magnitude, too, because you nailed it. Like, your career, you're on a rocket ship. They're going to have to take an account of everything that you have missed, especially with your trajectory. So, I mean, like, Don Lemon just got $25 million from CNN for like a 3-year contract. This is going to be something to where that farm that you have, you're going to buy llamas. You're going to have so many animals on this farm, Gina. It's going to be great.
Well, I haven't actually even thought, and this is to be very frank, I haven't thought about that because I feel like right now I'm playing an important part, and that I do believe that's what happening to me right now is like a God-given gift, and
Right.
So whatever happens, I feel that there's a purpose in this. Whether it's to let people know that they're not alone, because so many people felt alone during those last 4 years.
I love that you said that too, because you were in the desert.
Yeah.
God put you in that desert, and you're getting to the water, which I think is freaking. I'm so happy for you.
And sometimes justice doesn't happen the way we want it to. We think, okay, justice, And when I was in the desert, I was like, oh man, I see other people getting justice. Where, am I going to get justice? And then finally, when I just kind of gave it over, and I was like, okay, God, it's yours. And then about like a week later, that's when the X email came in.
So great.
And I was like, okay, well, then I'm not going to think about what's going to happen, how people are going to react. I think that I would love, I want people to be happy. I want people to come together. I want them to see each other as human. Like we are actually when we are together, on the internet, everybody's the tough guy.
Yeah, of course.
But when you get with people and you're sitting in
Neurotic is on here. Gary's on here
middle
too.
seat of an airplane.
Shout out to him too, man.
You could have all sorts of different views and all sorts of different cultures, and you're, not how you would be on the internet. So that's where I'd want us to get somehow.
Yeah, as your case unfolds, what's very interesting, I've been trying to read little bits, and you can't really find a full legal analyst breakdown, except there are comments that are out there, Pat, that point out that when press releases are made by companies for their quarterly reports and announcements, those usually come through a group called Investor Relations, and lawyers are looking at every word of the press release because you can get sued for putting out incorrect financial information or speculating that moves the stock market. The PR group is usually the ones that, and by the way, Investor Relations also handles, Pat, statements made by the CEO, because the CEO's voice can move the stock. On the other hand, marketing and PR have usually been, if you read about it, the thorn in the side of investor relations because they put a press release out too quick or too impulsively, and it comes through marketing, corporate communications, and PR. And you have investor relation people and the lawyers that usually run screaming down the hall, what did you just put out? And in this case, Pat, when you look at those words that we're saying, they came through marketing and corporate PR. When we read that, what Disney said there, and that is going to come home to roost because Disney is probably fearing two things right now. One, they fear discovery because every text message, every email internally that talked about this is going to come out in public in this case, number one. Number two, to avoid that, Pat, Disney has to openly file with the judge and say, we'd like all corporate communications to be sealed. Well, the minute Disney does that, it only takes one or two conservative news outlets say, gee, why would you want all the stuff sealed that's coming out in court? Why would that be? If they
don't want that.
That's right.
Of course they don't want that.
If they settle, it's an admission of guilt with a check.
That's right.
If they don't settle, it's public embarrassment with all these emails and stuff that are coming out at a time when DEI is getting serious pushback.
Yeah.
I find
it's no win for Disney right now.
I really, really am happy that this happened because I want professionals to look at this. I want professionals in Lucasfilm and Disney, and I want them to comb through it, and I want them to comb through their own emails and the emails that I was sending, and I want them to take a good, hard look internally at what happened here. Like, I'm not afraid of that. I want that to happen so that things can get better.
You're going to get justice,
people,
man.
The employees in the company,
justice
and every
will
division.
Be served, man.
And like,
Disney will rot.
I'm happy that they're like, I'm happy those lawyers. I mean, can you imagine these lawyers are like, oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
Beep, bop, boop. This is what you took away a 20-year career for, is this right here. And it's like, you can imagine these lawyers are like, oh my gosh, like who?
Oh, if it goes to trial, do you know how funny that'd be if you just see that beep, bop, boop, and then it's like that right there. Yeah. And you guys
again, you better get those shirts ready.
So funny.
Beep, bop, boop, if I see those shirts, man.
Like those
like,
three words.
I'm really not that
better
controversial.
damn get those shirts ready, man.
I was speaking out at a time that people were afraid to speak.
Wow. Who fears Kathleen Kennedy? Who fears Kathleen Kennedy?
I mean,
producers that want to be greenlit.
I think anybody who I don't think it's just Kathleen Kennedy. I think it's the Disney and Lucasfilm name. So once you have Lucasfilm or Disney, that name on your team, on your resume, then your whole world opens up. So I think it was Scarlett Johansson that said once that, I do these bigger films so that I can do my passionate, independent, projects, which actually Scarlett Johansson had a lawsuit and a settlement with Disney as well for mistreatment or breach of contract, which was different. But,
being deceived on release dates and streaming rights. It's like factual things that they did that she was dead right.
And I think Emma Stone actually had something that she was upset about as well. And so there's a history of this happening, of mistreatment. So I think, why wouldn't, I don't know what these meetings go like in Disney, but why wouldn't somebody just sit down and at least look at my case and be like, look at the stock, look what happened, look at the date, look at the effect that it's had on people. Let's make the situation right. They were so good at trying to tell me how to apologize, exactly the words to say. I didn't use the right words. I wasn't apologetic enough. How does this company, who obviously saw a smear campaign happening to me and did not step in, how do they not know, and how can they not show everyone, we're going to do what's right? At least in this case, we're going to do what's right. We're going to make it right. Has that conversation even been brought up of how they can do that? Like, I wish I could be a mouse in that room of like how have they thought of it?
Same thing. Yeah, same thing, Gina. Like with Johnny Depp, right? It's just Amber Heard does her thing. Everybody, they let him go. Everybody jumps up. They love to eat their own and make an example without taking two things: taking a second and finding out, hearing everybody's story, but just destroying people just like that, destroying their lives. Because as much as people want to say he's vindicated and everything, but people, the other side still looks at him and goes, you abusive beating.
Yes.
They still, even though he won,
Yeah.
they
That's
still
what
are going to
they-
see you
that's
like
what
that.
they
Like you're
do.
gonna have
I
that
mean,
for
they-
the rest of your life.
Yeah.
They
You're gonna
like
have
to
people
take
go to you
control
and
of
be like,
people, man.
you
And
hate
that's
black
something
people,
that-
you hate Jewish people, and they don't care
That's
about
something that
the
has to
truth
stop,
side of
bro.
it. They just see you and that's it.
Oh, and that was one of the most painful parts. Is I'd always go in Hermosa Beach to the Smiths, I think it was there, and I'd always go to I forget his name now, but this black man.
Yeah,
and
man.
We'd always talk
This
about
is gonna be
ribs.
good.
And we'd always kind of like compare because I always want to find out how to cook the
Love
best
'em.
ribs.
Yeah.
And we had the best relationship. And then when I was canceled, it's the first time
this
I
is
was
awesome, bro.
okay with
This is
wearing a
awesome.
mask. It was like I felt like, how am I going to go in here? And he's going to see all these headlines, and I don't know how to tell him this isn't true. I don't know how to tell him. And it hurt me so bad. And he did. He came up to me. He's like, Gina, what are they saying here? Like, and he was so confused. And I was like in tears in a grocery store, just like, I don't know how to tell you all of this is lies. And I'm so sorry, and it killed me. And the thing is, these big companies and Disney knows you'll cancel someone, you'll put them in the desert, and, they'll suffer and people will forget about it and their company will go up and down. But that person's career, once you've done something and made that kind of statement about them, will suffer forever. Yeah. And, Johnny Depp is a powerful enough person that he's able to, make a comeback.
Yeah.
I was at the tip of my breaking point. And, it is due to the people keeping my case relevant. It is due to
I wonder if Yellow Flash is
God,
here.
blessing me with
I wonder
opportunity
if
to
he's
keep it
here and he's
relevant,
looking
and
into this. He probably
and
is.
incredible people and men that and women that are supporting me all around the world.
When you think about Lucasfilm, that's very important that you're sharing that, because at the end of the day, when you are going through times like this, it's one source you can always rely on.
I'm
which
about
is
ready
God.
to hit out, man. I'm about ready to head
Everybody
out
at this
there, man.
table is
I gotta eat.
on the same page
I
with
gotta
you.
get ready.
Tom, with Lucasfilms and Gina, who runs it now? Does George Lucas still have any influence, or is it all Kathleen Kennedy?
It's Kathleen Kennedy and also this gentleman that they've just named who's going to be ahead
Dave
of
Filoni.
Huh?
Dave Filoni.
In the reorg that left Mr. Bailey laying in the street, there's the Greenfield and Greenbaum, and those are the two guys that now control both sides of the movies according to the reorg. So according to the reorg, those are the guys that are now in charge of it, and it's a combined position. You made a very interesting and good
All
point.
right, I gotta
I'll
go.
back to real quick.
I gotta
You
check
say,
this out. I
and
hope.
to Pat's
I just hope
question,
this thing went
who's
successful.
afraid?
This video.
The answer is,
Well, guys,
everyone in Hollywood is afraid because they want the Disney Lucas
I gotta get going.
thing
Let me
on
pause
their
this real quick.
resume. And what you said is, if you, Scarlett Johansson said,
All right, guys, I gotta go. I gotta get things ready for work, and I just gotta report what was going on with my streaming. I hope it went successful because right now it looks like it may have crashed on me. So I'll let you guys go, and I hope it does succeed. So I'll see you guys later.